So, devotees and friends, last evening we talked about this great king. And we talk about how wealthy he was. And with all the available wealth that he had, he got that illness. He got that sickness, my dear friends. And he had to leave the kingdom. And he handed over the kingdom to his son to run. Hemakant. Devotees and friends, this evening our katha commences that he went into the forest, and there into the forest he met with a young guy, a young boy whose name was Shivan. And so Shivan asked of the king his whereabouts. And the king told to Shivan, the son of Bhrigu Rishi, all that have happened. At this time, Bhrigu Rishi was finding that his son was taking a little long to return back to the ashram. So he was getting worried. So devotees and friends, like so many of us as parents, well, Randall went into that age yet, but Mala and myself and Munish and Roshan, all of them, at that age where the children will go out and being a little bit late coming in, you sit down and you're thinking, when will they be home? So devotees and friends, so too was the great sage Bhrigu. My son have gone to the well for water, but he do not really take so long to return. What is he doing? But dear, my dear friends, the young man appeared home and related the whole katha of Somakant to his father. And so, my dear friends, Rishi Bhrigu sent his son and bring Somakant and his wife to the ashram. And so Somakant paid his obeisances and so on to Bhrigu Rishi. And Bhrigu Rishi, my dear friends, welcomed him. It says here that he offered him, that moment to go and take a bath. No matter his skin disease was there, Bhrigu take him into his ashram. Offer him, go take a bath, freshen up yourself. And then Bhrigu Rishi asked of his people, of his servants, to allow the king to have the different dishes that they usually have. And my dear friends, there are 4 different kinds of dishes with 6 different kinds of tastes that is being given. It was the custom of that time. So Raja, the king, Somakant, received, my dear friends, the best treatment from Rishi Bhrigu. And then he went and he told to him, he said, now you will spend the night here and then tomorrow we'll talk. Ajato tum sabha styanadhi se nitrita hokar ratri ashram karo. So devotees and friends, he asked him to stay there for the night in the ashram. Let us listen now what happened thereafter. Jai Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganapati, Jai 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 Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh.
जय जय।
जय श्री गणेश जय भगवान, जय जय श्री गणेश भगवान। महर्षि की अज्ञान सुनु सर्व सबने स्नान, भोजन अधिके अपरठा रात्रि भ्याते के और प्रथम, स्नानधि नित्याकरम से निर्भृतं होकर महर्षि की सेवा मत में आप स्थिता हुए। महर्षि ने कहा, राजन मैंने तुम्हारा पूर्व जन्म के भृतंता जन्म लिए हैं और यहाँ भी विधिता कर लिया है कि किस पाप के फल से तुम्हें घृणिता रोग की प्राप्ति हुई है। यदि तुम चाहो तो उसे सुनो। हे राजन, ने हाथ जोड़ कर निवेदन कथा, बड़ी कृपा होगी मुनिनाथ, मैं उसे सुना है लिए उत्कंठ हूँ। जय जय श्री गणेश जय भगवान, जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान। ऑल टुगेदर जय जय गणपति,
जय गणपति, जय गणेश जय गणपति, जय 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 गणपति, जय गणपति, जय गणेश जय गणपति, जय जय।
गणेश भगवान की। So Raja Somkant and his wife, they wake up in the morning, and you know what time will he wake? Somebody tell me, what time would Raja Somkant wake in the morning? Between 3 and 5. More than likely it will be 3 o'clock, you know. So devotees and friends, he waked in the morning, took his bath, and then he performed his Nitya Karam. The Nitya Karam is what you do every day. I want you to tell me this evening, what is the Nitya Karam of Raja Somakant? He already waked 3 o'clock in the morning. What follows? Come out of the bedroom. So you don't wake up 3 o'clock and say, awaken, and you're still on the bed. So he came out of the bedroom, and then what is the first devotion is he going to do? He have a bath now. What is the first devotion? He's going to take the vibhuti and pass it on his forehead. After passing the vibhuti on his forehead, I reminded you all because I realized that you all forget this from last night. After passing the vibhuti, you see Radha Mother telling me no, she ain't forget, but she was ashamed to say it out loud, but the young ones, they could say it out loud. My dear friends, after he put the vibhuti, what follows? He pray and he thanked Mother Earth and he asked her permission to use her for the day. Remember, we use Mother Earth, she blessed us so that we can use her for the day. We walk on her, we reap the fruits from her, everything we do. After that, my dear friends, who is the next one he worshiped? Nitya Karam going on still. Sri Vinayak, Lord Ganesha. For what reason would he pray to Vinayaka? To remove the obstacles which may come for the day. After he prays to Vinayak, who he prays to? The Father, Lord Shiva. And what he prays to Lord Shiva for? Lord Shiva grants us the knowledge, so he asks that he may have the knowledge so that he may move through the day successfully. Then he prayed to Parvati Devi. What he prays to Parvati Devi for? So that the unity of the family will always be there. So my dear friends, I want you listen to the sequence. Our dear devotees on Sankhya TV, you were not here last evening, but you are hearing it this evening, what Nitya Karam should be. My dear friends, you pray to Parvati Devi so that the family unit will remain strong and united together. Then you pray to Bhagwan Vishnu and Lakshmi. And that is for the sustaining powers, for you to have all that is necessary to carry yourself through the day. And then finally, at that point, what is happening? The sun will be rising. So then you do Surya Namaskar. And why you do Surya Namaskar? You do Surya Namaskar so that you can ask of Surya. You are extracting the energy from the sun so that you can have that energy for the day. And the sun have a lot of energy, mind you. Ordinary people might want to tell to you, why do you make your offerings of the water to the sun? When you offer that jal to Surya Narayan, my dear friends, through the wave, the water vapor and the sun, you are being energized, you know. Right now, the world is trying to trap, you call it solar energy. Solar is the sun. And my dear friends, we were taught this from time immemorial, long time ago. Our saints and sages teaches us, as the sun is rising in the morning, you make sure that you trap the energy of the sun so that you will be energized for the day. So that is the Nitya Karam that he performed. And so too, my dear friends, that is the same Nitya Karam that all of us should perform. Then he went, my dear friends, and bowed to the sage feet. The sage have already been deep in his meditation. Why the sage is deep in his meditation? Because just as Somakant have his Nitya Karam, which starts at 3, so too sage Birgu started his at the same time. And so now, you know, devotees and friends, as I tell to you, the scriptures is not just to sit down and read it like a parrot. The scriptures, the person who relating the scriptures must bring it from deep within his heart. He must be part of that knowledge. And when he sends his vibration with that knowledge, you will receive a message that which will help you to transform and live your life. This is what scripture reading is all about. So devotees and friends, the sage Birgu now, coming out of his deep meditation, told Somakant the king, he said, hey Rajan, sit down. And not because he's a great sage, he disrespecting the king. Don't mind the king is in the forest. He say, hey Rajan, oh king, please sit down. And I'm going to tell to you now about your last birth. And so devotees and friends, the king, Sage Birgu, spread a special seat. He prepared a special asana for the king to sit. And so, my dear friends, he then told to him, all that is happening to you is as a result of your last birth. But devotees and friends, I want you to understand. Long ago it used to happen when we were little boys. You know, I don't know if Devi them will remember, but me and Chandra will sure remember. When you hear Pandit coming home, and Pandit Hariprasad used to reach home by us nearly 4 o'clock in the morning, if not 3 minutes after 4 in the morning. But he has to sit on a chair. And I remember in those days, particularly, we had 2 chairs and benches. But one of that chair, a sheet used to spread on top of that chair, and then Pandit sitting on that sheet. Special seat was made when these divine people had to come to your home. Sage Virgu, my dear friends, had the king of the land there, so he offered him a special seat. And when he offered him that seat, this is what followed now. He's going to tell to him about his last birth. And Jai Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Jai Sri Ganesh, Jai Bhagavan. Jai Sri Ganesh, Jai Jai Bhagavan. Maharishi ne kaha, tum purva janma mein ek dhanvan, Vaishya ke ladke putra ti, waha Vaishyam Vandhyachalam kim Nikat kolhar Namaka gram mein Nivas kartam tam Uske pale ka naam Sulochan tham Tum use Vaishadhyam pati ke putram हुए तुम्हारा नाम कमधाथम। जय जय श्री गणेश जय भगवान, जय श्री गणेश भगवानम। तुम्हार नाम कमताता, तुम्हार लालन पलन भरे लाल चवम। जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान। उन्होंने तुम्हारा विवाह एक अत्यंता सुनाधरी वैशा कन्या से कर दिया था, जिसका नाम कुतुमी भनी। जय जय श्री गणेश जय भगवान, जय जय श्री गणेश भगवान। जय जय श्री गणेश भगवान, जय जय श्री गणेश भगवान। All together. जय जय गणपति, जय गणपति, जय गणेश जय गणपति, जय जय गणपति, जय गणपति, जय गणेश जय गणपति, जय जय। So he says, O Rajan, O Somakant, in your previous birth, you were born in a tongue called I want to get the correct name of it here for you. You were born in a tongue known as Kolhar, near the Vindhya mountain. You was the son of a Vaishya, a merchant, whose name was Chitrarup, and his wife name was Sulochan. That was your father and mother. And you grew up, you were born to them, and they christened you, they initiated you, Nam Samskar Kamta. So, devotees and friends, he says, during your young age, your parents, you're a very handsome boy, and they decided to marry you, and they get a very wonderful, beautiful Kanya, whose name was Kudumbini. And so both of you led a very happy and pleasurable life. And you had children, sons and daughters. Munesh, how much sons you think they had? Munesh said 2. Somebody make a guess again. How much son do you think that Kamta and Kudumbini had? Somebody make a guess. More than 4. No, son. 7 sons and how many daughters? 7 sons and 5 daughters. So at that young age, they had 12 children. Good amount, and Tracy? There's only you and Dinesh, so if you have to give Mala and Lennox grandchildren, you'll have to have a good few. 7 and 5 is 12, good number. Prem Sabale Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan Ki. But what happened thereafter, my dear friends, we now hear. Jai Jai Ganapatim, Jai Ganapatim, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganapati, Jai 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 Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai
Ganapati Jai Jai
Jai Jai Ganapati,
Jai Ganapati Jai Ganesh Jai Ganapati Jai Jai
Jai Sri Ganesh, Jai Bhagavan. Jai Jai Sri Ganesh Bhagavanam. Kintu Mata Pita Bhi Dharm Kamte, इसलिए उनके सामने तुम्हारे अक्षर लठा दे धवीम. जय जय श्री गणेश, जय भगवान. जय श्री गणेश भगवान. परंतु माता पिता की मृत्यु के बधा तुम निरंकर. जय जय श्री गणेश, जय जय भगवान. जय श्री गणेश, जय जय भगवान. बोल
जय जय गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति जय जय गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति जय 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 गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति जय जय.
So, devotees and friends, I'm going to read you one line and you'll tell me what happened to the mother and father now. It says, Parantu mata pita ki mrityu ke badha tum niran kachu ho gaye. Tell me now, what happened to the mother and father? That line tells us what happened to them. What the word mrityu means. What the word mrityu means? The word mrityu means death. This is mrityu lok. So this is the abode of death. So it says here, Parantu mata pita ki mrityu ke badha tum niran kuch ho gaye. The word gaye means gone. So they have died and they have left him now. And so, devotees and friends, this is where the katha commences. All was the pretty part of the katha. His last birth, his father, his mother, and everything else. But devotees and friends, when his mother and father died, it says that, son, there was no one to guide you, no one to take care of you. And you know, Amnirav, when you have nobody to take care of you, we just want to play man, no? And the girls and them just want to play woman. And they're still in high school. Mama, you there? Prem se bole Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan ki jai. Roshan Mama wrong? Right. And this is for all my young children. When there is nobody to guide you and nobody to look over you, you become your own man and your own woman. And we see many of them who go on, Nikhil, you see many of them who gone to the university and have to stay up there. We lose a good few of them, my dear friends, because they say nobody to, no father, no mother around now, so I could do what I want. So, Prem se bole Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan ki. So it says what happened. He said, now that you had no one to guide you, you started to move out now. And you started to look at other girls. You started to look at other girls. And so you got yourself involved with other girls. You got yourself involved with girls who does not really care about a family. Girls who just want a friend for a day or two and that's it. And that is how you get yourself involved. Your wife started to warn you about what you were doing, but you paid no heed to her. So devotees and friends, what is happening here? He became lustful. And you see, having a wife, Munesh asked me the question yesterday, and he said, don't say he asked me the question, but he did ask me the question. And he said that if you cannot lust for your wife, no, you have to love your wife. You have to love your wife. And in loving your wife, all that will come, but not lust. If you lust, then you have no love. Lust and love is like a seesaw. If lust come in, love jump out. So my dear friends, he forget wife and he forget children. But this kind of life is very dangerous. And what this kind of life does, it takes away your money. Added to that, you had so much girls out there that you had to sell the house, you had to sell the land, you started to gamble, and all of that happened. So he lost his way, my dear friends. And what happened? In losing his way, my dear friends, it says he started to gamble. He started to rob people. He used to hold up the ladies, take away the bangles and the anklets, the earrings, all for money to go and pay these girls to have moments of lustful pleasure with them. Devotees and friends, a very dangerous thing. It says his wife going without food for herself and the children for days could not bear it anymore. And when the wife could not bear it anymore, what do you think she will do? She will take her children and she went to her parents' home. Her parents did not refuse her, they kept her there. Devotees and friends. So this man lose his house. He lose his wife, he lose his children, he lose his money, he lose everything else. He start thieving, he start gambling. What was the one vice that remained to get into now? He started to drink liquor now. And that was the end of it. Devotees and friends, it says that he started to drink alcohol. And he used to harass the passers-by. It says, and he didn't have time now to even cook. So when he catch a bird, he used to eat the bird raw. All the animals, he used to kill them and eat it raw. Devotees and friends, this bad he reached. And all because of, tonight we are dealing with one of the vice. And that is, what started all of this? Lust. What started all of this? Lust, my dear friends. And when he allowed lust to overcome him, he lost love for himself and his family. So, devotees and friends, it says here that he lost everything. The king put him out. The king put him out of so they banish him now from the village. And when they banish him from the village, what happened? It says he went into the forest. And he what? He made friends with the bandits. Those were the people he made friends with. Let us listen. Jai Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganapati,
Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganapati, Jai.
Om Sri Ganesh Bhagwan ki जय तुम्हारा कार्य लोगों को लूटना, the word loot means to thief, और हाथ या करना ही। जय जय श्री गणेश जय भगवान, जय श्री गणेश भगवान। एक दिन मध्याह्न कालताम, गुणवर्धा का नाम काम। एक विधुन ब्राह्मण उधर से निकल। जय जय श्री गणेश जय भगवान, जय श्री गणेश भगवान। बेचर आपनी पली को लेवने के लिए ससुराल जाम। जय श्री गणेश जय भगवान, जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान। जय श्री गणेश जय भगवान, जय श्री जय जय गणपति, जय गणपति, जय गणेश,
जय गणपति, जय गणपति, जय गणेश, जय गणपति, जय जय।
Ganesh Bhagwan ki. So devotees and friends, it says one day he continue to thief now, because there is no way for him to get money, because they have banished him from the kingdom. In those days it wasn't jail, they used to banish you into another place. So they banish him into the forest. So my dear friends, anyone passed into the forest, he used to lock their neck, take what they have. Something like what's happening today. but in a different way. My dear friends, a Brahmin boy, a young Brahmin boy came by and he told to him, lock his neck one time, and he tell him, he say, listen, want everything. But my dear friends, I want to show to you, he begged. This Brahmin boy begged this boy whose name was Kamta. But the name changed from Kamta now, Because sometimes you have a nice name, Kamta, but devotees and friends, when you start to behave in a different way, Prahalad, they call you differently, no? So now they call him Dhummarka. Dhunmarka. So devotees and friends, Dhunmarka, who is the same Kamta, the Brahmin boy begged him and he says, save my life. He said, look, I have a child yet to light my pyre. I married a wonderful girl and she died. And I remarried, but my second wife is not yet still of age to have a baby. And I still need to have a child to light my pyre. And devotees and friends, the young Brahmin boy said, I will give you every valuable thing that I had. But my dear friends, this Kamta, this Dhummakar, what happened? He was so accustomed killing now that he killed the Brahmin boy without even thinking what he was doing. Without any remorse, without any mercy. He did it, my dear friends. He became merciless because of what? One vice. He became merciless because of lust. So when the group start to question you, Munesh, and tell you God gave all of that, tell them yes. But it's where you want your happiness. Is it that you want limitless happiness or limited happiness? Prem se bole Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan ki. He killed the boy. But devotees and friends, after some time pass, what will happen? You're fed up kill. You're fed up thief. You're all by yourself. What would be the reflection? He started to reflect on his family. So he sent a message for his wife. Now he want back the wife, So he sent a message for the wife. But because he was banished, the wife and her family was afraid to respond to him because they were afraid now that the king will banish them also if he hear that they are interacting with him. So they sent back the messenger. And my dear friends, the messenger went back and told to him that your family wants no part of you anymore. Is the family wrong, my dear friends? Wonderful listeners on Sankhya TV, is the family was wrong? He abandoned his family because of one thing which is known as lust. Our Bhagavad Gita tells to us that lust, anger, and greed are the gateway to hell. And devotees and friends, Munesh, Munesh find himself into a position that he couldn't answer the other day. Munesh, anybody tell you anything else? Tell them to go into the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 5, verse 27 to 28. And it says, you have heard that it was said that you shall not commit adultery. But, and this is the Bible telling us in St. Matthew chapter 5, verse 27 and 28. Our Bhagavad Gita tells us lust, greed, and anger is the gateway to hell. Hear what this one tells you. But I tell to you that, he says that, yes, you have heard that it was said, you shall not commit adultery. But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart, and that is a sin. Prem se bole Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan ki. So devotees and friends, it tells again, also in Roman, it says, God gave them up in the lust of their hearts to be impure. So my dear friends, anyone who wants to challenge Hinduism and say lust is not a gateway to hell, let them rethink. Because I want to tell to you what happens with lust. And I want to tell to you, Munesh, and all here this evening, and all our viewers on Sankhya TV, why even lust for our wife is dangerous. If you start lusting for your wife, that lust, my dear friends, will create a habit on your mind. And when it creates that habit on your mind, and your wife is in the absent, what happened? Prem, what happens? You answer that. Prem se bole Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan ki. So you must have love. Love for your partner. And once you have true love for your partner, everything will tie into its rightful place. Prem se bole Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan ki. So devotees and friends, the messengers turn back. Now remember, this is Sage Bhrigu telling him of his last life. He says, but somewhere in your last life before Kamta, you had done a little good there again. And some riches came to you now. Some riches came to you. So a Brahmin came by. And when the Brahmin came by, you start to offer him clothes, money, and everything else. And it didn't end there. You tell him to go and announce it to all the other Brahmins and let them come. In those days, my dear friends, the Brahmins only lived on what they got. I don't want to say no more. But Prem se bole Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki. But this one Brahmin who came did not make out Kamta for what he was. But when the other Brahmins came, they knew that he was the one who is to lock people's neck and all of that, and he is now Dhoom Makar. So they say, see you, we rather starve. We rather do without anything than to take your gift. We don't want nothing from you. Just imagine, my dear friends, somebody telling you now, you're giving them, and they deserve it, they need it. And they tell you, no, I don't want it, it's best I die than take it from you. That means thing real bad with you. You're in a real bad position. So devotees and friends, they told to him that if you wish to change your life, we are not going to take that money from you. It says, but there is a dilapidated temple of Vinayaka Bhagwan covered with plants and creepers from the bottom to the top. You go and renovate that temple. That is your action of charity. That will help you. Lord Vinayaka will help you then to lift yourself. But devotees and friends, how he start lifting himself out of the sin? He then told him that he need to perform japa, he need to perform meditation, and that will take away his bad habits. So, devotees and friends, when we sit down here, and you might want to know why it is that Baba sit down for 2 hours chanting Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha, and don't have Omar and all of them singing down some bhajan to cover up my voice when I am doing the puja. No. I never like it, and I will never like it, and I'll tell you why. Mantras, my dear friends, are sound vibration of positive words and thoughts. When the singing takes place, yes, it is positive words, but everybody else, except the singers here, start to socialize down there in the chairs, and they make it sound like a concert. My dear friends, you didn't come here for a concert. You didn't come here to a concert. You come here for devotion, to live your life and to transform your life. That is what you came here for, to help you to understand the defects of our life, to help us to understand how dangerous the vices are. And today we are dealing with lust. Some things would happen to us at the click of a finger. You're going down the road, Munish, and you're driving the 323 going down the road. Somebody watch this bald-head boy inside there, wrong face, handsome guy. They won't see the beautiful girl on the left seat, you know. And so too, if your eye cut outside, you could run into a next motor car. You forget the beautiful girl on your side, and your mind going on the outside. Now when the beautiful girl on the side say, "What happened to you, boy?" You say, that's the eyes just see, and you go on your way. But that is lust also. Prem se bole Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan ki. Okay. My brother just reminded me, in this modern day is the other way around too. It's more the other side than this side. And it would have been about nearly 20 years ago, my cousin told me that. He was one of the school teachers who started when there were 3 pilot junior secondary school in Trinidad. It was Mocarapo, Marabella, and Pinal. And he worked in Marabella. And he told me, he said, "Vish," he said, "boy, when I started to teach in Marabella," he said, "we used to have to pull in the boys and them in a corner and scold them for harassing the girl." He was near to retirement, which would have been about 17, 18 years ago, because he's about 75, 76 years now. And he says, now you know what had to happen? He says the girls we just had to pull in the office now for harassing the boys, you know. So yes, I agree that this time too it's the other way around. But it's both sides. I'm not going to blame any side. Prem se bole Sri Ganesh Bhagwan ki. So devotees and friends, he then went and he performed his jap and meditation. And that is what we do here. You see, when we do that 21 offerings of the doob grass, not only the devotees up here should be chanting Gam Ganapatiye Namaha, Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. I'm seeing the wrists, okay, don't worry. Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha, Om Gam. That is jap you're performing, my dear friends. So to every wrong of people who come, when you are sitting there and Om Gam Ganapatiye being recited, don't socialize, don't talk otherwise. Perform the jap. Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. What will happen? My dear friends, the chanting of the mantra will create a rotation on your mind. And that rotation will get faster and faster as you recite. And then the energy of Sri Ganesh Bhagwan will manifest himself into your mind. But what happens today? And I'm happy for it too, eh? But you have to be a little better. You have to start reciting the mantras too. Because, Anil, I ain't expect you to find a girlfriend anywhere else but in the mandir. Because remember, last night we talked about it. When we said that the wife that you choose could either lift you and carry you, give you name and fame and strength, and the wife that you choose can also bring you down under the ground. So it is very, very important in your choice, boys and girls. And I'm very, very much, concerned about what happens now. The boys are informed 3 and the girls and them still informed 2, but they have, big fight for boyfriend and girlfriend now in the school. That is a great concern, my dear friends. Because that is lust and that is not love, and that will destroy these children. And we need to arrest it now. Prem se Bali Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan ki. Watch where this king, watch where he reached. So devotees and friends, because, as they would say, because of his eyes, the local term is that he have long eye, or he could not see a trespass. That was the position that he reached. What where it reached him? It reached him straight down to the ground, where his wife even refused to come and look for him. Don't believe that we live in this world today, in this Trinidad, my dear friends, and there are not so many like that. There are a good percentage of our men and women who have reached the same stage, have degraded themselves because of lust, and all the vices hinge on themselves thereafter. Some of them are not fortunate to catch up back themselves, as how this Kamta was able to catch himself back up. Because of some previous thing, this little wealth came. The Brahmins didn't want it. So he couldn't say to pay way out. He had to sacrifice his way out. And how he sacrificed his way? Jap, meditation, cleaning the mandir, fixing it up, renovating it, using that money there in the mandir. And so he was able, my dear friends, to reach old age and ready to die. He then died. And when he died, the devotees of Yamraj came and picked him up. When they went up there, Yamraj told to him, he said that you have done some good. You have done a lot of good by renovating the Ganesh Mandir. He said, but yet still you do a lot of bad and you have to pay for it. Can't get away from that. You have to pay for it. Which one you want to enjoy first when you go back in your new life? You want to enjoy the good part first, or you want to enjoy the bad part first? And there, my dear friends, he agreed that I'll take the good part first. He came as Raja Somakant, King Somakant, and he lived out the good part of his life, and then the disease came to him, and you had to come. Prem se Bali Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan ki. Again, King Birgu told to him, he said, now again, is only Ganesh Bhagwan would be able to help you. But devotees and friends, how many people come to the Pandit, and when Baba read the Patra, and the thing showing so true, you don't believe. You say, what is man talking about? And devotees and friends, the same thing happened with Somkant. Birgu went through all his devotion and everything else, but he didn't have faith in what it says. And what happened? It said a set of crows, what we'll call kobo here, a set of crows came out of his body and started to pick every one of the sore in the skin. And my dear friends, he could not endure that. His wife started to beg for him. The two ministers that he had with him started to beg for him because they could not see him in the pain. And then, my dear friends, he bowed to Birgu and he told to Birgu, he says, listen, he said, I believe you now. And he really believed, eh? Then Birgu got the water, sprinkled it on him. And it says when he sprinkled the water on him, he says a big demon came out of him. And so the demon was then sent into a tree. Prem Sabale Sri Ganesh Bhagwan Ki. What was that demon that came out of him? The lust and the greed. That, my dear friends, the vices that he accumulated remain in his mind. All that you interact with from the terminal of your birth to the terminal of your death, and after death into the new birth, remains on your mind until you are able, through japa and meditation, to get rid of it. And the person who have to guide you out of it is the sage, the spiritual person, the spiritual guide. Prem Sabale Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan Ki. So my dear friends, I am not saying this because I want you to respect me or I want you to respect any one of my Pandit brothers and so on. But my dear friends, these are the people who have the knowledge to help you out. Dedicate yourself. The important thing is job. So the first night, we talk about the devotion and the benefits. The second night, can't remember what we talked about. But last night we talked about Somakant and his life, all the money that he had, he was not happy because of this skin disease. We came tonight and we learned why. So my dear friends, those who believe eat, drink and marry is all that there is in this life, check yourself again, my dear friends. Check yourself again. We believe that that is all is happiness. Check yourself again, my dear friends. And it is time. I am not going to call anybody for Mala this year, I feel. I know I will get a flow of people coming because they are knowing how important it is for this fast, for this year devotion, devotees and friends. Remember, life is getting shorter and shorter and harder, and you need to prepare yourself for when Mr. Yamraj will do. Prem Sabale Sri Ganesh Bhagwan Ki Jai.